Let's turn back overseas now, because the Trump administration is facing a growing backlash over heavy redactions in newly released files relating to the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Yesterday, the Department of Justice released the first tranche of long-awaited files in line with a deadline set by Congress.
Our Global Affairs Editor Laura Tingle joins us now in the studio. As Joe was saying, that this is long-awaited. The DOJ then released the files, not all of them though, and they're heavily redacted. What's been the response?
It's been going from bad to worse as a response, and as you say, heavily redacted. Not all the files. A lot of the files are actually photos of suitcases or plastic bags or blank pages, in addition to the redaction. So while there have been thousands of items released, a lot of it hasn't had any substantive information. But what I think is now becoming really bad for the Trump administration and for the Justice Department in particular is that photos that were there when the files first went up yesterday have disappeared. And guess what? They included pictures of Donald Trump.
Oh.
So there's already outrage about the lack of information, not just from political figures, but from victims who are hoping to finally have it confirmed, what had happened to them. But the fact that there's so much funny business going on in the release, and now these withdrawn photos, which everybody who got onto the website early, including journalists, have seen, but it's any attempt by President Trump to have basically buried this story is sort of spectacularly backfired.
Yeah.
This has been quite divisive in Trump's MAGA base and in the Republican Party as well. What's been their response?
Well, I think the right has been split still. Marjorie Taylor Greene is leading the outrage about the less than satisfactory release. Some people are still saying, oh, it's wonderful, it's the greatest show of transparency in American history. Chuck Schumer, the Democratic leader, saying this is the greatest cover-up in history, in world history. I think all the hyperbole sort of starts with Donald Trump and moves onward. So it's not just Donald Trump's critics from the other side of politics or the victims who are complaining here. It's right across the board, and it just looks so terrible. They released them very late in the night, released some extra files literally in the middle of the night. Clearly there seems to be this hope that they'll just trickle these out over Christmas and people will have lost interest. It was clearly files that were focusing on photos of Bill Clinton. All the rest we can't work out what they are. But it's backfired badly, I think, on the president.
Yeah, it does seem to feed into the speculation that the Trump administration is trying to protect President Trump, but also his powerful and wealthy allies as well. The Epstein Files, just from what I've been reading, is kind of a reflection of how the wealthy and powerful were able to move with impunity, back in the day, shall we say, in the 80s, in the 90s. But what about now? I mean, if this was to happen now, would they still be able to get away with it? Or do you think there's more sort of stringent measures now to catch them?
Well, it's interesting. One of the things that was released was some testimony where the guy who'd originally decided not to prosecute Jeffrey Epstein back in Florida in the mid-2000s was asked about why he didn't. And he essentially said that he didn't believe prosecutors or the jury would believe the victims. And he said, oh, well, things have moved on since then. Well, maybe they have, but I think the story here is that, beyond the damage done to victims themselves, this sort of idea that there is this sort of shroud of secrecy and protection around the wealthy and powerful is the idea that has, at the conspiracy level or anywhere else, really driven so much of the anger about this. And that's what's so damaging, I think, to the president now, that beyond what he may or may not be in the files with is this idea that there is still this protection racket going on. And I don't know how he really addresses that now, because the redactions and the covering up of pictures is so widespread. It will be very hard to sort of eventually just say, look, that's all just purely to protect the innocent. And I think the pressure will be on for even more releases.
And because of those redactions, beyond just photos of the rich and powerful, what are we actually learning from the files so far?
Well, we're mainly learning that Jeffrey Epstein was an exceptional creep. I mean, most of the stuff that we've seen is about him, and he just comes out of it as just the most creepy, revolting human being you could possibly imagine. Some of the testimony and records of interviews with the victims, they don't make for pleasant reading at all. So we're mainly learning about Epstein, and nobody else really suffers any great incrimination from any of this.
But that's the thing too. I mean, just on the salacious part of it all, these pictures are coming out. We're seeing pictures of Bill Clinton floating in some sort of a spa with Ghislaine Maxwell and a woman whose face has been blacked out as well. And then we've got pictures of Bill Gates. We've even got pictures of Michael Jackson and Diana Ross as well. Noam Chomsky, of course, has also been implicated in these photographs as well. But there is no real evidence sort of linking them or their knowledge that he acted illegally.
No, I mean, we don't know when the photos were taken, where they were taken. They're not doing anything terrible other than being in a picture with... It's like politicians who are asked to have a selfie taken with them and with some stranger in a thing. It could be anybody, anywhere. It could be, and some of the photos that were released, I think, last week, were revealed to be at public events. So there's not a lot of information from all of those, but of course everybody's damaged just by vague association, and without a doubt, Bill Clinton is about the only politician whose face isn't covered up in the photos. And there are a lot of pictures of men whose faces have been covered up in these files. So it's not great.
It's murky, isn't it?
It's very murky.